Yo,
Yo,
what's up, guys?
what it do, what it be?
We got we obviously talk a lot of video games and stuff on here, but I think we'll dive in and touch maybe some recent updates. Maybe Rich might try to get your feelings on one of your recent purchases that you must just made us aware of, and then any of these recent updates that have come out from Nintendo and Microsoft and Sony and their forth, if there's anything that's kind of struck a chord with you. But Bob had a great idea talking about basically, music or tunes that are in video games that obviously, one that you'd fall in love with, but that you would actually go out of your way and say, hey, I would listen to this outside of the game, whether it be available on a soundtrack or somebody has, figured out a way to get it to YouTube or whatever way that is possible.
Or fucking hit clips.
Exactly. But there's been a recent release, right, to kind of spark this idea, didn't it?
Yeah, and I really don't know who the demographic target is. Target demographic, there we go. That's the way those words go together. I don't know who the target demo is, aside from and I say this with all due respect because obviously we're fucking nerds too, but fucking nerds, dude. It's a little tiny Game Boy that comes with 45 little tiny Game Boy cartridges that all only have one song on them per, and they just fucking loop. And so what you do is it's in celebration of 30 years of Pokemon. So it's Pokemon Red and Blue, and they divided the songs up into 45 little fucking Pokemon Red and Blue cartridges, and you stick them in a little tiny Game Boy, and then it plays like hit clips from back in the day. Now, I didn't have hit clips. Rich, did you have any of them?
I didn't. I don't think they're the same thing. No, I had pocket rockers, which I think came out before hit clips, which were like they were like singles on the little thing. I don't even think they played the full song. I think it was just
I'm sorry, that name was fantastic. Pocket rocker.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was called. I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right, and I think Tom, you didn't have any of that stuff.
No,
right?
no, I remember the hit clips though. I remember seeing them around, and I was actually Googling because I could have swore that wasn't there like a McDonald's variant of a toy that was like that?
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, it might not have actually played music, but it was like I don't know. But I do remember because it was Tiger Electronics, wasn't it? The hit clips.
I think so, yeah.
So, but they were early 2000s, right? So it's been 25 or 30 years now.
I thought there were older ones than that.
Maybe, yeah. Let me see.
You could be right, but I no, you gotta be right because there was because it was like Britney Spears and shit.
Okay, yeah. So first launched in August of 2000. So yeah.
Yeah, here you go. So Rich is right too with the pocket rockers. It was from 88 to 91, and it was like a little mini cassette.
I definitely had the Jets album because it was 80 something. and probably the Beach Boys, which is also weird that the Beach Boys were in an 80s thing, but whatever.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at the list now, if I were to rebuy this, I would definitely get the Beastie Boys, You Gotta Fight for Your Right to Party, and Genesis, because every little boy needs a Genesis.
The Huey Lewis one's got a couple of good ones on there too.
Yeah, I would have had the Huey Lewis one, Ray Parker Jr. for Ghostbusters, Tom Petty. I would have had the Fat Boys for sure.
Oh yeah, dude. For
Susu Studio, there's a Phil Collins one too by himself.
Oh, fuck that.
You got some Kenny Loggins, man. Footloose and Danger Zone.
Oh, shit.
That's a friggin' dynamite combo right there.
Right?
And I definitely had the white thing that they're showing in that top picture where it's like got all the neon colors around the speaker grill.
Yeah, I feel like I seem to remember you having that. Like, I feel like I saw that either at your house or on you at some point.
I'm looking at the hit clips now, and the very first thing, I guess because it's alphabetical orders, was Aaron Carter, and they got Aaron Carter's "I Want Candy."
Ugh,
I'm so over that. There you go.
fuck that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
the hit clips list is not nearly as great as the Pocket Rockers list. I'll say that.
right, like Blue Swede. Let's see. Is there anything else on here?
There's some Elvis stuff, which is
Elvis,
always
yep.
pretty cool.
All right,
Avril Lavigne.
Gorillas.
Beach Boys, Jackson 5.
Oh, you're looking at the hit clips again. Yes.
Oh, there's some Simpsons ones, which I wonder what that would be. Is it just? It says Bart, Homer, and people of Springfield. What? I mean,
Jackson 5. Louie. What the fuck is Tic Tac?
yeah, I don't.
Is
know.
that what our grandparents call TikTok?
I think so. A Finnish music group consisting of 6 musicians from northern Helsinki.
Oh, there you go.
Well, then there's hit clip discs too. What the? Wow, that's a whole with the Ataris and Simple Plan.
Yeah, the hit clip disc looks like it's got a little bit different,
Yeah.
But yeah. Hey, if you're a Lindsay Lohan or a Clay Aiken fan, go for your hit clips discs because they exist.
Oh, and here you go. All right. While it's commonly supposed the hit clip started as a McDonald's toy, this is untrue.
Aha, good. I thought I was wrong, and that's why it's like what what do they call that? The the way you false. It's like the whole Sinbad being in a
Mandela
pirate
effect?
movie. Yeah, exactly. Mandela effect. The whole Sinbad being in a pirate film, that thing, or not pirate, but the genie film or whatever.
Genie, yeah.
Yeah, that whole thing.
Shazam or Kazam or
Yeah,
whatever.
Shazam.
Even these 60-second microchip songs. So,
That's all it was?
yeah, that's what it says at the top. So you only
Oh,
got
yeah.
60 seconds of "I Want Candy" by Aaron Carter.
And then when the format was changed, it was changed to a 2-minute mini circular cartridge, which is I guess the hit clips discs.
Yeah, that would make sense. Still not the whole song. So maybe you could So I don't know that Aaron Carter hit the hit clips discs, but if you did, you would have gotten 2 minutes of that song.
And then they have a Sugar Ray one, but they don't have the good Sugar Ray song, the flying one. Your hell it's called. I just want to. No.
That album. I mean, I think we've talked about that before. Or maybe we haven't. Maybe we've talked about it off air. But that album, that song is so much not a representation of what the rest of that album is. Like, it's that song and then a bunch of metal. And people were buying it and not expecting that.
Yeah, I think we did talk about that because I recently figured that out with their actual first album, which was like pretty much all metal.
Was that Lemonade and Brownies?
Yeah, that one. They pop up on the Escape from LA soundtrack. That's where they.
When did that come out? This thing, August 2000. So some of these I can understand, and then the Beach Boys, whatever. I guess the Beach Boys are just classic. But we got Manfred Mann, Do-Wah Diddy.
Yeah.
Not like Blinded by the Light, but like the Do-Wah Diddy. And then there was another one that I thought Otis Redding. Otis Day.
Otis Day in the Night, Shout.
The Jackson 5. We did that. My Girl from the Temptations. Of course, we got that, the movie with the kid who died. And then Village People, YMCA.
Oh, man.
Where's his glasses? He can't see without his
glasses.
Oh, man.
I've never seen that movie, but anytime I read that, I laugh. And I don't know if that makes me a horrible person or not.
Casey and the Sunshine Band and they're just okay. All right, fair enough.
Yeah, the Trogs, Wild Thing.
Haku, was it Haku one or the Samoans?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's with an A, not this is
okay.
Buku.
Yeah.
Yeah, Haku was who Haku was, what was he, late 80s, early 90s? Or was
Yeah,
he
and then
late
he
90s?
showed up. He went over to WCW.
Well, this other one had a hit song, Legally Blind. This Hoku Ho Clements.
Hmm.
Never heard of it.
But it's funny. So I'm looking at the Wikipedia for the Pocket Rockers, the hit clips, and then the related links are always the best. So next in line was the Tooth Tunes, which were a now discontinued line of children's toothbrushes that were also released by Tiger Electronics, and each brush played a 2-minute song clip from a particular artist to encourage the user to brush their teeth. So you went from Pocket Rockers to hit clips to then doing the 2-minute songs into the toothbrush.
Well, what's cool at the toothbrush was they were inducers, or transducers rather. So it wasn't speakers, like you would hear them in your head as you brushed. So you needed to actually have it touching your teeth.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. It is pretty neat. It's obviously one of those oddball things that certainly did not catch on, but I don't know. It did say they came with one song, so I was trying to find a list of what songs, but I'm not seeing those. I'm just seeing the little image shows Tooth Tunes Brush, which plays a Hannah Montana song.
So I'm just going to choke myself with the toothbrush instead.
It's a party in the USA. Actually, I don't think that's Hannah Montana. Isn't that just What's Her Name by herself? I don't know.
That's just Miley Cyrus, I think.
Yeah. And
did you know she was on a on, I forget what the album was called, but there's this like ridiculous Metallica tribute album that's got like 400 tracks or some shit like that, and she actually covered Nothing Else Matters. I think it's like her and Elton John or somebody like that covered Nothing Else Matters.
This one's there's a Destiny's Child Tooth Tunes that plays Survivor, because that's what I want to hear when I shoot the cheater. I can't find a list, but the various ones have them on there. There's a Selena Gomez, Round and Round, Shake Your Tail Feathers by the Cheater Girls. I think they were targeting a female audience.
Well, I don't know if this is legit, but I found a Reddit list. They were apparently more than just. They also had soundtrack music.
This was got Indiana Jones.
They had this Indiana Jones theme. They had this Rocky theme. They had the Star Wars theme. They had Robots in Disguise.
Oh,
man.
Maybe it's just because we're from Philadelphia, but I would think waking up every morning and I'm hoping it's going to fly now, but it could be Eye of the Tiger, whatever the Rocky one. But doing the Rocky theme as you're brushing your teeth has got to be an awesome way to start the day.
Oh,
yeah.
This list just got worse, though.
Oh,
they have. Now, don't get me wrong. I saw this. I was like, "Ooh, this is really cool." They have "Whip It" by Devo, but it was re-recorded as "Brush It."
Oh my god! Yeah, I'm gonna need that to never come up again.
Do they got Willow Smith doing I brush my teeth up and down. I brush my teeth up and down. I brush my teeth up and down.
Wait, are you supposed to go up and down?
Huh?
You're supposed to go up and down when you brush your teeth?
Everywhere. You used to do it
everywhere. You gotta brush them all.
Yeah,
gotta brush them all. Which brings us right back to Pokemon and the.
Love it.
And this Game Boy Music Collection jukebox thing. So, I mean, is there a game that you can think of that you like the music that much that you would want to have a miniature console that you stick the cartridge in, like a new cartridge for each song?
No.
Or that you would want, more realistically, is there a game that you've played where you would like to listen to the music outside of the game?
After seeing this, I'm shocked there's not one for Final Fantasy. with all the Final Fantasy songs. So that wasn't really a Game Boy thing.
Well, no, but I think you can stick the Final Fantasy PlayStation discs in your CD player and they'll play.
Okay.
Because I know you and Seaman used to listen to that shit all the time.
You said semen.
I've always been a big soundtrack person, whether that's, movies or games. So, my alarm from every time I get up in the morning is one of the songs from Skyrim. So it's very peaceful. It's not like, dragons coming down in the morning to wake me up. But that's one that I will listen to outside of playing it, and I could say the same thing for Diablo 2. I actually have that soundtrack on CD. When I bought the copy of the game that came with it. And there were several others that I had, and I had some weird ones too. Like I had a copy of the Power Stone soundtrack on CD, and then some of this stuff like I don't have anymore because I sold it because it was like I needed some money at the time, and it was worth a few dollars then. I'd hate to even bother looking it up to see what it's worth now because they're so obscure. But no, there's several, and I still think it's kind of cool. Like I'll go back, and I'm not going to say like I'm going to go get in my car and fire up the Super Mario theme by any stretch, but
now you say that, but I have I got the Super Mario All Stars for the Wii, and I had gotten the special collection, and it came with a soundtrack disc, and I actually do have a lot of the songs.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, all my between that and then like the orchestral score from the original Super Mario Brothers movie, and then like bands like Power Glove and stuff like that have redone, and the mini bosses that have redone songs. So like I have all different music, like video game 8-bit typically, that pops up in my playlist.
Yeah. There's a lot because I listen to a lot of synth, a lot of electronic, and so Mitch Murder comes to mind because he's redone several. Like there's one that constantly pops up on my playlist. He redid Mute City, F-Zero, and then he's redone like other ones, Doom, so forth. I mean, but it's almost like at this point, who hasn't redone that one? But
I've got a cartridge that's just Dark Side of the Moon in 8-bit chiptunes that actually plays in your Nintendo.
That's cool.
Nice.
It's kind of like taking it the other way around.
That's pretty awesome, though.
I like that. Yeah. Do you have anything else that's like that, Rich, or just that one?
No, just that one. But I have on vinyl I've got a couple soundtracks from video games. I got the orchestral Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, which is pretty good. I've got Battletoads. The Battletoads one's awesome.
Oh, cool.
And the Mother 2 / Earthbound soundtrack, because it basically ripped off 60s rock songs anyway, so it's a fun soundtrack.
Yeah, isn't part of Sgt. Pepper's in there?
Yeah, there's there's a couple Beatles songs that they ripped off.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, borrowed, homaged.
Yeah, and I think it does add, going the other way too. Obviously, it adds a lot to the experience of playing the game. But then, other than the game, like say you do have music that was made specifically for the game. You have games like Fallout, which incorporate music from, that's obviously previously existed, and it kind of brings it back into popular culture, which I think is fun too. There should be hardly any reason why my kids know who Dion is, but they do because of Fallout. So I think that's really cool, and I think that kind of speaks to, kind of the other direction too. It's like, okay, these songs exist; they're likely pretty good songs anyway, but the current generation, this might be the only way they're ever exposed to it.
With your Fallout thing, I liked when BioShock Infinite came out. Was that the one that had like the Beach Boys? Yeah, God only knows, but as a barbershop.
Yep,
like that.
I was just thinking that too.
The Little Big Planet games, all the way up to Sackboy, typically always have fantastic selections as well. So there are songs that, and Bob, I think you'll agree with me on this too, because some of that music is more of your, not always, but you're going to have some of, not obscure bands, but newer alternative, your Foster the People, your Modest Mouse type bands that are popular, maybe not with us, what we like to listen to necessarily. But MLB The Show was like that a lot too, especially in the 2010s into the, I don't know, I haven't played the last couple of iterations of it, but they always threw like, some pretty cool, I think like the Black Keys and some different ones that I was exposed to that I knew that they existed as bands, but I would not have been exposed to them any other way outside of maybe hanging out in some random brewery and it popping on. As sometimes like I hear like Gold on the Ceiling, which I know was in some version of MLB, and it's like playing at a brewery. And I'm like, I always associate that because the first time I heard it was playing MLB The Show.
Yeah, and that's where EA actually is. I hate that I'm going to give them a compliment, but EA, especially in the early 2000s, with games like Burnout 2 or Burnout 3, Burnout 4, MVP Baseball, Madden, they were really good with their soundtracks, and to the point where like some bands that I really like there's still songs that I'll listen to that were in those games, and like I'll still rock out when I'm playing Burnout Revenge on Xbox. Like I'm fully into the soundtrack.
Oh yeah, like my son was big into Paradise City, and of course he only associates the GNR Classic with that game, and I have to explain to him like, no, bud, that song's been around for a long time, but it's kind of like Paint It Black though, Twisted Metal Black. Paint It Black was an iconic song well before that game ever came out, but when that game hit, it really, again, it brought it right back into popular culture. And, it's hard for me now, anytime that song comes on, man, I just Twist Metal Black. It's weird. Like, it's kind of almost hard for me to separate it because that came out 25 years ago. The game did, so it's hard to make that separation.
See, now I think of when I hear Painted Black, I think of that Vietnam show from back in the day. I forget what the hell it was called. Tour of Duty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not Call of Duty, kids. Not Call of Duty.
But now, Rich, going back to the 8-bit stuff, this is something that I've always been kind of, here and there. There's certain songs that I was like, Contra theme, for example, or certain games that were just really kind of stuck in your head into the 8 to 16-bit generation. Was there anything you guys like just really fell in love with that you're like, you know what, I can dig this outside of firing it up in a game?
I like in the Goonies. The game was called Goonies too, but they had an 8-bit version of The Goonies Are Good Enough by Cyndi Lauper, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty great. The Bubble Bobble theme.
Oh yeah.
I had at one point I had a techno remix of it. I don't know what happened to that. I guess I think the hard drive died that was on. But
the older ones always liked Marble Madness. Always thought the soundtrack for that was pretty good. There's some really good ones. I'll always find myself in love with the NBA Jam stuff. I think I brought that up before, just the different, whether it was on the Genesis, Super Nintendo, Sega CD, the arcade cabinet. I always thought the different variances were really cool, whether that was from the hardware or the the fact that there was a few years in between release to, you could hear a little bit of difference, but you could always hear is like, I know this is the main menu, and I know this is team select, and I know this is the end screen. You always knew it was still there. It was always very similar, but it did sound a little bit different each time.
Green Jelly did the soundtrack for Maximum Carnage, and that was
yeah. Green Jelly did an awesome job with Maximum Carnage.
Trying to think on games that kind of going the other way. Was there anything that just pissed you guys off, like even playing a game? You're like, I would not only would I not stick this into my CE player tape deck, I wouldn't play this game ever again because the music is just that bad for it.
I got it. All right. So to answer that question, I'm going to go back to the first part of the discussion, and then I'll answer it. So, the Tony Hawk games have always had fantastic soundtracks. Starting at Tony Hawk 1, amazing soundtrack, right? And Tony Hawk American Wasteland had a bunch of classic punk songs covered by new bands. I thought they did a fantastic job. So, now that being said, playing the Tony Hawk games on N64 and hearing the compressed and cut down and like shorter versions of the songs used to piss me off to no end. Because it was kind of like, you know how like with No Way Out and WrestleMania 2000, like everything was great except for the entrances.
Yeah,
it reminded me of that.
Yeah, the WCW games were like that. The ECW games were like that.
It's your rules.
Yeah, they were pretty crappy on the 64. Now the gameplay was awesome,
right?
But the music did take away from that experience because you wanted that full blown, give me that high quality, high def sound, and I'm certainly not getting that.
No.
What about you,
Mercy? No Mercy, not No Way Out. My bad.
Rich, what about you on that? Anything that just took away from the experience?
Games that I played that I didn't like the soundtrack of, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. None that's like stuck with me as, oh, this is awful and I can never listen to it again. Mostly it's probably games that like they have the one song that plays over and over. That Back to the Future 2 and 3 for the NES has and that's like the whole thing, the four bars of a song over and over again. That's all I can think of, though.
What song was really good in a game, and it was in an area that really pissed me off. So, like, I don't have great memories of it, but the song just went so much harder than it ever had any right to. Was the underwater level in Turtles, when you jump off the dam and you got to turn off the bombs. Like, that song had no right going that hard, especially when it's trying to kill me with seaweed. But like, it was an electric. For some reason, the seaweed was electric. I don't know if that's because it's the Hudson River and it's so super. Actually, is there even a dam on the Hudson River? I don't think so. I don't think there's a dam in New York to begin with. But whatever. I guess creative license.
No, you reminded me. The River City Ransom stuff went pretty hard too, man. I always dug that. That stuff was always good. And that's the other thing too. It's like sometimes that stuff, it's I don't know, because the game itself is so good, the gameplay is so good, and the music just kind of puts a nice bow on it. Almost, it just wraps it up into a nice, perfect experience. But over time, there's been stuff that I've downloaded and was able to grab from YouTube or whatever. But is there anything that you guys could think off the top of your head, like, man, I really wish there was like an official soundtrack for XYZ?
I've heard what we forgot, I haven't heard anybody mention, is DuckTales.
Yeah,
DuckTales had some awesome music in it.
Yeah, that's a good plug because they're getting a re-release here pretty soon, right? Atari.
Oh, so so they're releasing a physical version of the Disney Afternoon Collection. Now they did back in the day. They did a remaster of DuckTales for the PS3 and 360. And did it come out on the Wii U also? I think it came out on the Wii U also, but it wasn't. I could be wrong about that. I'll have to look it up. I have Google. I could look it up, but I'm lazy. But that actually remastered all the music too. It was really good. And when they did the reboot of the cartoon with David Tennant as Scrooge McDuck, which was chef's kiss, they actually put lyrics to the Moon song, and they actually made it like into a real actual song, which was really cool to me. Which I've never really seen a game song get acknowledged in that manner before, especially by the source, essentially the source material. Like, because the comic books obviously couldn't really do it, but the cartoon did. And I thought that was
can't
really
press
cool.
play in the comic book.
Yeah, you can't press play.
Play.
Yeah, I tried. It doesn't work.
But Richie mentioned the vinyl stuff too, so that was one of the things my son asked for his birthday. Was he wanted a one of the Minecraft vinyls that's making it out. So I thought that was pretty cool because there's certain things that he really digs, and it's interesting to me that, you know, here's my son who's, you know, obviously vinyl was well before him, is now seeking out vinyl version of a modern thing, which I thought was pretty cool. You know, I'd say Minecraft's not really modern anymore, but
I don't remember if it was this year or last year, but there was a Rocky Horror Picture Show 8-bit game out on the Switch, and they redid all the music for that in 8-bit, and that was really good. And then they did a Kickstarter for a Rocky Horror comic book, and one of the Kickstarter things was a vinyl copy of the thing. So actually, I got that on order. I Kickstarter, I backed it where I could get the vinyl thing.
Sweet.
Was it was it limited run? No, I'm just kidding.
No, it was not limited run.
I'm gonna dog him every chance I can.
I am waiting for there's limited run. RetroWare is supposed to be doing that Toxic Avengers game, and Limited Run will probably do a version of that because they work with Limited Run a lot. So I'll probably get that on order and maybe get that before I die. And then the He-Man game, just because I like He-Man enough, I'll probably order that and get that whenever that comes out.
That'll be shipped to your grave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Late.
Yeah.
And they'll try to, like, you know, make you pay the other fees. Like, sir, you still owe money for shipping.
Yeah, right.
They're RetroWare's a local company, so I actually got to play a demo of the Toxic Avenger game, and I think it was at RetroCon last year, and it looked like it was almost done. It was just needed polish, I guess, but I don't know what's going on with it. It was taking them a while to finish it.
Before we move on, does anyone else have any music related things? Because I want to pick Rich's brain about his recent purchase here.
I do want to say that there's apparently, now this should shock no one, but Kiss has one of the toothbrush things, and it's only $35 brand new on eBay. You can brush your teeth every day to rock and roll all night.
Yeah, no thanks.
And it hasn't been re-recorded as, like, brush your teeth all night, or
Well, I don't think they'd put that much effort into it.
And floss every day.
Yeah.
at least I didn't say spit and swallow all night.
Dumb. No, I'd rather just let my teeth rot and fall out than get Kiss another cent.
Oh man. So before we started recording, Rich dropped a bombshell on us that he made a nice purchase, which the three of us pretty much just completely dogged several months ago. So Rich, what'd you buy there, buddy?
So I am now the proud owner of a Nintendo Virtual Boy dock for my Switch.
Your Switch 2.
Switch 2, yes. Well, it also has an adapter. You can put the regular Switch into it.
You can? I thought it didn't work with the Switch 2 or with the normal Switch.
It takes both.
Oh.
Yeah. One-to-one scale replica of the no batteries needed.
That's just that's just fantastic. Now, but you did mention something I thought was pretty cool, and I don't think any of us discussed this when we were discussing the release.
But yeah, apparently when Labo came out, remember Labo? Labo.
Remember Gabbo?
Yeah. They did an update to a couple of their games to make them play in 3D with the stereoscopic Labo set. And since this is just the same thing, it works with the. I know Breath of the Wild's one of them, and I think Mario
Odyssey does.
Yeah, has a 3D thing too. So I would probably give them a go and see what they're like. But yeah, I haven't opened it yet, but it did arrive. What was cool was one thing that I guess is good with Nintendo and not a limited run thing is like, hey, you could buy this. I bought it, and 2 days later, it was here via FedEx, which is kind of nice. I wasn't going to do it, but it was one of them things where I wouldn't mind having the GameCube or Nintendo 64 controller for the Switch, but they're never in stock. So like this was in stock. This was in stock, I think, because I'm one of the only idiots that bought this anyway. Like it's just that I don't know. But yeah, I have a Virtual Boy. I think I've played it twice, and then it's been in my basement since I bought it. So this might go the same way. But yeah.
That's it's interesting. I mean, it was
an impulse buy.
It's not anything that you're going to play every day, and I guess the neat thing is that you are going to be able to be exposed to certain games.
There's also the other thing that was kind of fascinated me a little bit is they did say that there's unreleased Virtual Boy games available on the Virtual Boy thing. So I mentioned before that I have played all the games on the 3DS emulator, which is nice. But if there's games I've never played, then I'll give it a go. And I guess it's slightly better than paying $25 for a piece of cardboard, which is the other option.
So now this leads me to my next thing is that now I'm fully aware that if there's ever
with the cardboard one too, by the way, you actually have to. I think you have to play it with your hands holding it, like you're holding it up. So you have to use the controllers here. With the other one, you can use any controller you want to play it, the actual Virtual Boy dock.
So if there's ever a physical re-release of the Mario and Link games from the Philips CDI, I think we know the first person that's going to buy them.
They did the CDI controller.
I have, when I bought my CDI, it came with one of the Zelda ones. I don't remember. It's the one you play as Zelda. I think it's the cartoon one and not the one where it's the
live action Gamelon.
Yeah. What's nice about CDI though is there's no copy protection. So if you don't want to spend, $500 on a horrible game, you don't have to.
So they're kind of just selling them like limited run at this point.
Yeah, it's just that's why limited run decided to make for them, because they just they could do the burn CDs.
Yeah, we're just gonna write on there too. We don't even have to.
Writing the label in crayon.
Rich, the last time we recorded, Bob and I recorded, we talked about some updates. Nintendo Partner Direct. Sony had some announcements shortly thereafter. I don't know if it's been a while within the last month or so. And then I think there's been a little bit of Microsoft chatter as well with the departure of the higher ups and the replacements of those folks. So is there anything like in those realms that piqued your interest at all?
No, I did see Fallout 4 plus all of the expansion packs came out for the Switch too, digitally. So I was thinking about picking that up to play it again. I never finished it on the PS, whatever it came out for. So the show got me interested in it again. So I might play that again for a little while. I'm currently playing Persona 3 on the PS5, the remake of that. Persona 3 Reload, which is good. They updated it. I played a little bit of the Persona 3 Fez, which was a PSP game that they put out on everything. But they didn't modernize a lot of that. This plays almost exactly like Persona 5, which is cool. It takes forever to get started. Though. I'm an hour into it, and I'm like, when's the plot going to happen? But apparently, in game, you meet a character in June. But just going through a school year, so I'm almost there, and then it kicks off. But it's Persona, so it's fun. The Sony stuff, not Sony, Xbox stuff. I read a little bit about. Then they talked about it on the CU podcast last week, and I don't know. Microsoft's I don't think they care. And I don't know. I don't know what's going on with them. I don't have an Xbox, so it doesn't matter to me one way or the other. But I see them becoming Sega. Eventually, they're just going to become a software publisher again and just do games, and that might be good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Bob, I know you and I haven't really talked about it off, obviously other than we have off pod, but, what were your thoughts on that power changeover?
It really depends on if what the new lady's saying, if they stick to it or not. If they do, then it could mean that a lot of things change in the next generation, and they might halt production, or, well, I don't want to say halt production because I don't think they've started producing anything yet for the next generation, but they might kind of change some of the things that they were thinking about, whereas they're not going to be console agnostic. They're going to be Xbox exclusive games again, where, as of right now, they've been going with that. This is an Xbox. This is an Xbox. This is an Xbox. Your PlayStation's an Xbox. Your toaster's an Xbox. Like, where everything can play Halo, everything can play Gears of War, everything can play Fable. And I think to a degree they're going to keep that up, as far as the games that they've announced. But I can't remember her name, and but if what she's saying is true, she said she wants to reinstitute exclusivity. So now Sony is doing that in a way, because if you remember correctly, the new Xbox is supposed to be basically a Windows-based machine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Sony just came out and said, hey, guess what? We're not going to make games for PC anymore. We're going to keep first party. And so Spider-Man, Wolverine is not coming to PC. Spider-Man, the next Spider-Man game, is not coming to PC. They're going to stop doing, I guess, the show, or they won't do the show for PC. Now, part of that they're saying is because with the RAM shortage, they don't want to fragment things too much and then have they want you to, like, the PlayStation to be the best place to play PlayStation games. And they don't want to have a Microsoft situation where they're creating a game for the PS5 or the PS6 and it's at this level or this level, and then you've got like the Xbox Series S where it's down here. And
Right.
So you're having the bottleneck and you're having to like compromise. So it'll be interesting. I'd like to, I have an Xbox Series S and I got it just simply because I have so many games in the Xbox ecosystem that I had bought digitally for cheap or whatever. And like with Rock Band, I had so much DLC for Rock Band that I was like, you know what, I can get a Series S for cheap, I get a guitar controller, and I'm set. But so what they do going forward matters to me, but it doesn't, because I'm kind of PlayStation camp right now, especially if they're going to continue releasing Halo and Gears of War and Fable for the PS5 and the PlayStation's family of systems. As long as they're going to keep doing that, I don't really need to have an Xbox, but especially at the pricing that they're releasing them at. But I'm interested, if for no other reason than I do like those franchises. And now they do own Activision Blizzard. They do own, they've owned Rare forever. So seeing what they do with those properties, seeing what they do with Diablo, seeing what they do with the Bethesda properties, with Fallout and Elder Scrolls and Starfield, which I'm about to give up hope that Starfield's ever going to come to PlayStation. And I was really hoping it would, because I really want to play it again, especially with all the new updates they've made. But we'll see. So that was a rambling answer to say I have no fucking idea.
Right.
I really hope that they get their shit straight.
Yeah, no. I'm kind of in the camp with Rich on this, only on the sheer fact of I haven't owned a Microsoft-based console since the 360. So I missed out on the one, and then obviously the X and or the S. So have not owned any of them, and very limited on actually playing any of it either. So outside of my time with the 360, I've been pretty much in the Sony corner for a long time. Had the PS4, upgraded to a PS4 Pro, and then I've got the PS5. Still haven't wanted to sink the money into a PS5 Pro. I might eventually, but right now it's the one I have is fine. Mainly because my kids play it and they play like fun stuff, and I play pinball, so it's not like not like I'm really stretching it here. But yeah, I don't know. I think there was a power shift that needed to be made, and because what was that, Phil Spencer, whatever his name was, sometimes it's just thank you for your contributions, but it's time to move on. And whether or not this remains to be a good thing, I do kind of see this going down the road, as Rich suggested, of them being just a Sega, being a software developer and not looking straight at the next console. But I don't know either, and that's the thing. It's interesting. It really is. It's interesting to see what the next generation's going to bring, whether that's Microsoft, Sony, or otherwise. So it was definitely interesting news to hear. I think we're kind of firmly in our current gen stuff now. I still think you're going to hear ramblings for the next year or two on anything else that comes after this. But truth be told, whether it's RAM shortage, this, that, or the other thing, I honestly don't think we see anything really, truth be told, from either of those two, Microsoft or Sony, that's like hardcore brand new for at least 2 years, and if not, maybe even a little bit longer. That's just me. I could be completely wrong, which I probably am. So,
and I'm perfectly fine with that. I could go to 2030 with what we have now.
I was going to say 2030 as well. That made a lot of sense to me thinking about that, but I think we might see maybe something drop a little before then, but I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think we will.
You'll see the Noise Brigade console.
Yeah.
It'll run Pong, and you can pull tissues from it.
Yep.
And
no, it's not going to run Pong. It's going to run Pong Combat.
Pong Combat. Okay. And it'll have some fun words though.
I'm still hopeful I'll get my Intellivision Amico before the end of the year. So